do?
Yes.
Everybody ready to go? Thanks a million. Good luck. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Elevate, the Future of Beauty and Personal Care. This is our fourth event this year in the Elevate Trends series, which is all to do with our trend of the week and trends that are affecting consumers in Ireland and internationally. Fantastic panel for you today: Sonia, Deacy, Darren Kennedy, Ellie Balfe and Louise McSharry. I'm going to let them introduce themselves in a minute. Just a little bit of housekeeping first. If you have any questions, please do submit them in the Q&A box and we will get to them at the end of the discussion. We'd hope to go to questions in about 35 to 40 minutes. If you have any technical issues, could you please email emer@elevate.ie and she will help you out. And that's our webinar today. So we want to talk a little bit about what's happening in the world of personal care and beauty, what have been the impacts of COVID and other consumer trends we're seeing. We'll talk a little bit about what future trends are as well. So with that, I'm going to hand over to the panel and let them introduce themselves. Sonia, do you want to talk a little bit about who you are, please?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sonia Deacy, and I am the founder of Pestle and Mortar, an Irish skincare company. We recently had our 6th birthday, and our philosophies within the skincare world are all of our products are made from natural ingredients and with science.
Lovely. Darren?
Yeah, hi, I'm Darren Kennedy. I work on TV and I'm also founder of Kennedy & Co. Grooming. Kennedy & Co. Skincare, I should say. And our ethos is all based on using, again, natural ingredients backed by science that are vegan, that are cruelty-free, and that are all made here in Ireland. And making it accessible, I guess it's good old-fashioned skincare with the backing of clinically proven ingredients for 2020 and beyond for every man.
Lovely. Ellie, will you tell us about yourself?
I will, thanks Emma. I'm Ellie Balfe and I've been working in and around the beauty industry for a long time now. I started as a makeup artist, which led me to becoming beauty editor of Image magazine for a while and then the editor of Image.ie. After a stint at Irish Tatler as editorial director, I set up a brand this year called Heyday, which is for women over 40, because I felt we weren't represented in media as well as we could be and that there should be a lot of conversation around that age. Excellent.
And finally, Louise. Oh, Louise, you're on mute.
I know, amateur rookie hour, sorry. I'm Louise McSharry and I am a broadcaster. I work in 2FM and then I also write a beauty column for the Irish Independent Weekend magazine. And I'm just a beauty obsessive, lifelong beauty obsessive.
Well, thank you all for coming together for this discussion today. Let's talk about the trends we've been seeing in beauty. I don't know if anybody wants to jump in, say perhaps about the direct consumer model, about the beauty from within trend, about the hot ingredients and active skincare. But Darren, you can tell us about men's, the men's sector. So who would like to tell us what's been going on? Darren?
Well, I mean, I can start from my perspective. I think the fundamental thing to remember is, whilst Kennedy & Co. began as a brand 2018 targeting men, I think, everyone on the panel will agree that, ultimately skin is skin. Yes, men's skin is a little bit thicker, perhaps a little bit oilier, but essentially the basis of between men's skincare and women's skincare are the exact same. And I think, bearing that in mind, then the active ingredients or the trend ingredients that we're seeing kind of now and moving forward into next year are things like hyaluronic, their vitamin A, their retinol, they're all those things. And I think it's kind of about striking that balance between kind of future-proofing your skin and protecting your skin going forward, but also, doing what you can to repair maybe what has happened in the past. Obviously, we can't repair everything. So for me, it's certainly, that's where we're at in terms of beauty and skincare. And I would definitely be a proponent of less is more, kind of making life easy on yourself and taking an almost minimalist approach to how you're treating your skin. But also holistically as well, in terms of, if you're obviously where we're at right now, very few people are doing like weekend benders. But, if you're the type of person who likes to party for 48 hours straight and then complain that your skincare product isn't doing what it says in the tin, well, you kind of maybe have to recalibrate the full spectrum.
Yeah. Anybody else want to jump in there?
Yeah, I think there's a real divide actually, and we're at a very interesting time in terms of beauty trends in the beauty industry because prior to COVID, I think there was definitely a trend on the maximalist end of the scale. I think mostly with women kind of 30 and under, who wanted to use as many products as they possibly could. You know, they were happy to use an 11-step Korean skincare routine. They wanted to use a primer, a full coverage foundation, you know, maybe a highlighting filter even before they put on their full coverage foundation, and then 25 other products to come up with a finished look that is almost a piece of art, you know, rather than about enhancing beauty is more about kind of color and creativity. But then on the other end of the scale, I think there was a real move toward minimal beauty, minimalist beauty, with brands like Glossier, and you know, even brands like Pestle and Mortar, who are just making skincare very straightforward, and kind of simplifying some of the complexities around the beauty industry. But I think COVID has been a very disruptive force in all of that, because it's really identified, you know, who is doing beauty and engaging with beauty products and engaging with makeup specifically for kind of personal pleasure or creative outlet, and who is wearing makeup to kind of present a face to the rest of the world. Because of course, if you're not leaving your house and you're not seeing anybody, then maybe you're not bothering to put makeup on at all. And in that case, I think a lot of people are really focusing on skincare specifically. And I think skin health, skincare is something that there has already been an emphasis on, but I think that's just going to go from strength to strength. And I reckon Sonia is going to have a very good few years now over the next little while, and Darren as well, as people really invest in their skin. Because when you take away the makeup, that's what you're left with.
Are you seeing that, Sonia, in your business?
Yeah, I mean, you know, our growth has been phenomenal this year. So thank God we're one of the businesses that we haven't been affected adversely by COVID. So we have just grown, and we're continuing to grow, and we're really excited for next year. We have new product launches for next year. So we have never really been busier. But, you know, for me, the ethos of our brand and the way that you know, I would always have favored a less is more look. I'm not really into color or makeup that much. I prefer the more natural look, and would always advocate not to cover up your skin. So try and make sure that your skin can be the best that it can be. And not to cover it up. I have daughters myself, and I try and teach them the same philosophies, because we only have one skin and we need to take care of it. And especially with COVID, from working at home, I think that women and people, everybody has had the chance to live makeup free for a very long time, where we may not have had that chance before. And you get to see your skin and how it reacts when we don't put foundation on, or when we do put foundation on. And, you know, it makes you think about other things, like what is actually in my foundation. I've spent money on these skincare products that have active, really good, clean ingredients, and then I go and lump and dump loads of toxic, non-foundation onto my skin. So I think that that's, you know, that's food for thought. And I think that definitely our world is changing, and I think for the better.
Ellie, have you something to add there?
I pretty much agree with everybody else, but I think it's very much about its knowledge and simplicity, really, I think, for me. And particularly as you get older and thinking about this age demographic, I think what we want is glow and good skin, and for it just to be simple. I think there's enough going on for all of these multi-step skincare ranges. Whilst I love them, and I personally really love the ritual of skincare and of applying step by step, gives me a teeny bit of control in this crazy world. But I think that we just need to understand what the products are doing and have it be simple. And I think for me, the big focus is skincare personally. I think I've worn so little makeup this year, as you say, Sonia. Skincare is where it's at.
Well, I think there is a divide in terms of age, because I think that for a lot of young women, there's a few different factors. You know, some women might be coming out of you know, a really difficult time with their skin. They may have had hormonal imbalances or issues as teenagers, which means that they feel ashamed of their skin, so they want to hide it with a lot of makeup. And then I also think there's just a curiosity and an excitement about using makeup for the first time, so you want to use as many different products as you possibly can and get them all on your face and kind of create something completely different to what you're used to. So I think that's where that kind of drive to cover up what is often beautiful young skin. So like, it's heartbreaking to us, I think, you know, when you're, you know, getting towards the end of your 30s maybe and beyond, you know, you're looking at these teenage girls. I see them on Instagram all the time with like stunning, like absolutely perfect, the skin you would dream of, and then they put on 4 layers of product. But that's, you know, healthy and normal to a certain extent for them, I think, because they're figuring it out and learning and experimenting. But then I think you're right, Ellie, as you get older, you kind of don't have the time, first of all, and you know, you maybe don't have the inclination, even though you may be actually less happy with your skin than you were then. You know, I suppose you try and work with what you have more than create something new.
And what about the whole tanning thing, the fake tan? What's everybody's opinion on that and where that market is going?
I don't think it's going anywhere. I think people are still going to tan. I'm not a tanner personally, but I think it would be very hard at this point for the Irish market to like separate itself from the old tan.
Well, for the first time this year, I'm actually considering a tan because obviously no one's getting to travel anywhere. Normally, I like to think that, you know, if you can get it naturally, obviously better, well and good. You know, as a guy, I think I probably offer a different perspective on tanning. I see a lot of the tans that people apply, and sometimes you think, my God, where the lights out, where, you know, where you left the house, because it just can look atrocious. Now, that said, I think, you know, there's so much information out there now, and there's so many amazing skin and beauty Instagrammers who do these tutorials, and even Vogue, obviously, you know, how they apply their tan, and it looks beautiful when you see it afterwards. So I always feel kind of like, obviously damage from the sun is one of the primary factors in kind of premature aging. So you kind of look at tanning and go, well, actually, if it can be done in a way that looks beautiful, that looks natural, and if you kind of compare where we were maybe with tanning 5, 8, 10 years ago, I think it has come on leaps, like quantum years, and that kind of Oompa Loompa look is no more, and that, you know, most tanning products, I think, look fantastic. I just think, do you know what, and Louise, just to go back to something you were saying there, I do sometimes wonder, you know, it is a particular, I think, Irish or Anglo-Irish cultural phenomenon with makeup and tanning, and, you know, young girls in particular being impressionable. And, you know, yes, there's an aspect of playing around with makeup and, you know, expressing who you are, but I can't help but feel that so much more of it is hiding and kind of just trying to assimilate and be what you see around you. And it is covering, because actually most women, when they get to that age where they're embracing their natural beauty and the skin tone, etc., is a reflection of where they've come in themselves, and kind of that inner confidence that comes with age. So it's a real tricky one. And I always look to, I'm a huge Francophile. I've lived and worked and studied in France for several years over my career. And I look at that, you know, when we talk about the Parisian chic and that natural, effortless French beauty, and they have a completely different approach to beauty and makeup. Skincare would be different. So I wonder if, you know, the divide that you mentioned earlier on, if part of us are moving towards that kind of minimalist, more natural look, and COVID has just exacerbated that.
I think so. And I think, like, even for teenage girls, I think you're right. Like, definitely, you know, very few of us will have a time as insecure as we do in our teenage years. And I think particularly when there's such an emphasis on appearance, and there always has been. I mean, when I was in school, it was MAC lip gloss and Elizabeth Arden toasty beige, no matter what color skin you had, which was, let me tell you, absolutely criminal. You know, it is about And the reason I say those two products is because it's about having the same thing as all of your friends and doing the same thing as all of your friends. And that, that's forever. Like, and I don't know that that's going to change. But I do think that there are more teenage girls now who their thing that they're doing is actually no makeup or less makeup than when I was a teenager. There certainly seems to be more diversity within teenagers. Now, they still have their thing that makes them the same as their friends or their group or their tribe. But I think rather than it being all of sixth year wearing the same terrible god awful makeup, it's kind of, there's a few groups within sixth year. And I think you're so right, Darren, with what you said about tanning. Like, we've definitely gotten so much better at it. The products are so much better. Like, we have access to really good kind of lessons in how to do it. So yeah, I'm just lazy. But I think a lot of people are doing it very successfully.
I agree. I think it's come really full circle. Like in the early 90s, everyone that I know had to go and get Max Spice lip liner because it was the thing. And it's hideous on me and it's not great on lots of people, but everybody wore the exact same thing all the time. But it's because it's exactly as you say, Louise, it's like having the confidence to realize that actually that doesn't maybe suit me. I'm going to go find out what does and what I actually like. But the tribal thing is very huge. And when I was studying to be a makeup artist, I wore so much makeup all the time because I adored it and it was creative and it was my outlet and it just made me so happy. But I was full eyelashes every single day, like full on contouring, the whole 9 yards. And then, but as I've gotten a little bit older, I've focused on my skin and I've focused on the things that I like. So it's really interesting, like you're saying, Darren, the evolution of beauty from a woman's point of view, the journey that you come through is really interesting.
And then on the back of that, I think, men are starting to now explore makeup, which is quite interesting. Yeah. So it's kind of, there is a real dichotomy of where we're at in terms of beauty, makeup, skincare. I do often wonder, I don't know if anyone's a fan of the Hunger Games, but when I watch the movie and like they go to Pan Am, the capital, and they'd all literally be done up like, jesters and clowns, and you kind of go, God, is that where we're going with makeup? Is it going to be such a massive expression of who we are? And who knows? I mean, back in the day, they, in certain parts of Asia, they used to blacken their teeth because it was beautiful. And now we all want white teeth. So, it's certainly, it's a journey.
So Sonia, how did a business like yours, what's the COVID impact been? You said like it's accelerated sales. I presume it's had a big impact in e-commerce. Have there been other impacts and in the beauty industry in general?
I think that people want to buy products that work and they have the time now to try them and test them, which is where we would score. So if we can get people using our products, testing them and trying them, then they give them time to work and they discover that, okay, right, these products worked and what are the reasons behind that? Whereas before, people, I think before, they're too busy, they're like chopping and changing and moving on to the next best thing. So I think products more, they have that time where they can go around their house with no makeup and really, really test a product for what it is and how it should work, and not cover their skin up with makeup after using it and discovering that actually this vitamin C is working and I don't actually need to wear foundation every single day. And we did launch a product 2 months ago, our newest product, Glow Drops. And people always say to me, oh my God, you have a tanning product and so, but the Glow Drops it's a subtle glow to your skin. So I can use them on my skin and I can use 3 drops and I need absolutely no foundation. But the feedback has been amazing. We have 6, girls from the age of 15 up using them. They're non-toxic, they have no alcohol, they won't dry out their skin like traditional tanning drops, and they won't cause acne or breakouts. So with a lot of traditional tanning products, particularly for the face, they're formulated without looking at the damage that they're doing for the skin. So ours are formulated coming from a skincare brand and understanding skincare and ingredients. So I think products like that are really beneficial now. So you definitely don't need to wear foundation every single day.
Are there any other COVID impacts the panel has seen they'd like to talk about?
The grey hair trend. I love it. I think it's been really good. It's been really fun to watch it on Instagram specifically. There's so many new accounts that have been set up, you know, from the date of their last dye, and they're charting it as it's growing out. I'm doing quite well myself, but I am dyeing it on Saturday. I was thinking, would I go the distance this time? But I was like, I'm not quite ready. But I think it's gorgeous, and I think it's in line with everything else that has happened through COVID, almost psychologically, that people are going, okay, this is me, this is what I look like, this is my skin, this is what my real hair is like. People are a bit more in tune with themselves. And I think that's really lovely.
Also seeing themselves on Zoom for like hours, you know, every day as well, where you would never possibly have contemplated your face as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a dentist on my show recently, and he said that they're out the door, like they've never ever in his career ever been as busy as they are. And I said, what do you think that's about? And he said, well, I think it's different things. It's that people aren't spending money on holidays, so they're like, okay, I'll finally get that expensive bit of dentistry done. But he said also, I think it's because people are looking at themselves all day long and they're noticing, oh, that tooth doesn't look great, or these could be a bit straighter, or that could be a bit whiter. So I think, you know, COVID is definitely making us examine ourselves more closely, and things like that are definitely being impacted. I think on the hair as well, there's been a real move towards people embracing their natural hair texture. And now the Black community were miles ahead on this. Like they've been doing that for years. And obviously it's a lot more kind of culturally significant for them. But I've seen a lot of women who, you know, there was a TikTok trend where someone did it and they said, oh, my whole life I thought I had straight hair. I've just gotten out of the shower and I've brushed it and I've blow dried it, and this is what it's looked like. But now I think I might have curly hair. And, you know, they do a different thing. They don't brush their hair. They get out of the shower. They leave it it's in a t-shirt for a while, and then put a different product in it, let it air dry naturally. And they discover that actually they've got lovely, wavy, curly texture. And I have noticed a lot of that happening on Instagram. I've been doing it myself. I have friends who are doing it as well, because you have the time to experiment. You know, you're out of your routine. So you might try something new and realize that actually my hair, you know, rather than getting the GHD out every morning, maybe I can work with my natural hair texture. I think there is definitely a move toward kind of your natural self and kind of embracing your natural self. But then what that means for the beauty industry is that any products that will help you do that are experiencing a bit of a lift, I think. So whether it's glow drops, and I think give your skin a bit of a boost, or a hair product to make your natural hair texture nicer, I think it's working.
I think also on that note, when it comes to, you know, letting your hair grow out and letting the color go and letting the natural kind of beauty of your hair come through, is the same with skin. And I think, Sonia, that's kind of what you were referencing as well, is it's that whole thing of, you know, ultimately giving your skin as an organ the chance to assimilate and to get used to something. And if you're constantly trying a barrage of new products every week, well, you're never actually really getting to see the effects of the effectiveness or lack thereof of the products you were trying. B, you're never letting your skin acclimatize and see if it actually works for you. And actually, I think what we're discovering and what we'll continue to see moving forward is that a reduction in, I guess, the amount of maybe products people are using on their skin, as people focus in on the ones that work for them and that they find work for them, and they'll realize, actually, well, less is more. These 3 or 4 products actually have my skin in tip-top condition. It works for the combination or the chemistry of my skin, so this will suit me going forward. So it's circular, really, like everything, isn't it? It's kind of, you know, giving yourself the chance, giving your skin the chance. And then in doing so, I think we'll simplify a lot of routines.
A big driver of the beauty industry has always been new product development, new product launches. Like we see that in PR. That's really how the industry has always worked. But now with the kind of climate crisis, climate emergency, and the pressure coming, it does feel like the industry might have a bit of a reputational reckoning. Does any of the panel have an opinion on that? The whole eco credentials. Obviously, eco brands have had a bit of a pushback now because everybody wants just hygiene and effectiveness. But how do we see that rolling out?
Well, sorry, go ahead, Louise.
No, go on.
Well, I was just going to say from the point of view as a brand owner, and obviously from Kennedy and Co. So we launched in November 2018 with 5 core products, and there's been huge pressure on us from retailers and various other sources to when's NPD, and we intentionally and specifically made the decision as a business not to rush through with new NPD because of that, because it's driven by this need for newness. But actually, is the newness really adding value? Is it what is needed right now, and long term, is it what the brand needs? So we kind of stood our ground on that for a very long time. Absolutely, we will have NPD, but the right NPD based on the experience of the past couple of years on their products, feedback, etc., and extending the range in a meaningful way. So I think that's the thing. It's about, being able to, to know where you're coming from as a brand and where you want to go, as opposed to just reacting to external pressures, because that is the thing. It's like, you look at some ranges, particularly makeup, and like there's 145 SKUs and they're a 12-month-old brand. You kind of go, well, that is not sustainable, and that is absolutely not doing anything for the environment or for creating an ecosystem where actually we're helping on every level.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, I think the beauty brand is kind of notorious for it definitely pushes consumerism to kind of the highest level. There's always a new mascara, there's always a new lipstick, there's always a new whatever you're having yourself. And you do really have to be a kind of discerning consumer to try and cut through that yourself and figure out what you actually want or need. And I say that I'm sitting in a room literally filled with makeup. So I'm aware of what it's like. But I think that's such a valid point. But I think people are being more considered, or many people are being more considered in the way that they shop in general. And I think that does apply to beauty. And I think people are happier to maybe buy less, but buy better quality, certainly of a certain age range. But I think as well, I've definitely noticed a huge move in terms of packaging towards sustainable packaging. I got actually from the Irish brand Nunea, I got a gift set the other day, and it was in really interesting packaging. It was recycled kind of pulped paper, but whatever, I don't even know if it was paper, but whatever it is, it composts in 40 days. And I was like, that's really impressive. And that's the kind of stuff that you're seeing. I think the industry knows that it has to up its game in that regard to try and sell to people, to continue to have people on their side. And that goes for the kind of the cruelty-free developments as well. There's huge developments there. The big sticking point is China, because China requires animal testing in order to sell cosmetics in China. And means that any brand that is sold in China, their products will be tested on animals at some stage. Now, often it's not in the development of the product. Often it happens once the product is kind of given to China, China will test it. But it still means that they can't get that cruelty-free certification because it's still happening. Now, there's been huge campaigns on it and huge development on it, and it looks like it will be resolved with China in the next few years. But that again is just a sign of progress, and I think people are being a lot more thoughtful in the way that they buy generally, and that definitely applies to beauty.
Anybody else?
I think just one of the exciting things that I've discovered in terms of packaging and moving forward, it's obviously compostable materials that are biodegradable and whatnot, but certain ones that will have seeds in them, which actually, so for example, envelopes or packaging that have seeds kind of embedded through the product. So as it starts to decompost, it'll actually germinate the seeds. So it's kind of literally bringing that kind of circle of life back around, and it becomes almost food for a new plant, or that type of thing. I think is really exciting, because then even if someone is irresponsible, which obviously you don't want them to be, but irresponsible with waste, that could end up as a tree somewhere, so that type of thing is just really clever. I don't think it's the solution ultimately, but it's the way I think it's exciting consumers, it's exciting brands, and I think it's definitely a step in the right direction.
And what about beauty from within, that whole trend of supplementing? Our client is Revive, which is another Irish company having a great year. COVID impact has been very positive for them as people look for vitamin D, vitamin C in their supplements. Does the panel have an opinion on beauty from within? Say also Elle Macpherson's company, Wellco, and her beauty elixir.
Yeah, well, I'm fully signed up, a member to the supplementation club. I think a few years ago, my skin was tending to get very dry, and I was advised to take omega oils, and I noticed such an incredible result. It almost changed my skin. And then in other aspects, I mean, magnesium to help sleep. I take vitamin C, vitamin D. I find the C helps with brightness of the skin. So I very much look at what they're going to do for my skin as well as holistically. I think they really make a huge difference.
Anybody else on supplements?
I'm a little bit more skeptical. I'm not sure. Like I'm not sure I'm getting as much from if I take them orally as I do if I use things topically. I'm no scientist, but that's but I think it's a huge growth area. Like people just love the idea of adding things to their routine in many ways, and a new way of getting collagen. I know collagen's really buzzy at the moment into your system, but I'm not sold on the science that taking collagen internally will have that much of a difference on your skin externally. Sonia, you probably know a lot more about this than I do.
Well, I suppose I'm very simple. So I believe that we are what we eat, and we need our 8 hours sleep. And if we are eating healthily, sleeping, that our skin we will see the results. So I'm one of those really consistent people. So I sleep every night. I drink, but I don't drink that much. And I eat healthily. And I cook everything for fresh. And that's my belief, and that's the way I was brought up. So, and that comes naturally to me. So that's what I believe. So I'm not saying I don't really know too much about the supplement elements or taking supplements. I don't take them myself. But I'm sure, and I have heard that there are plenty that do work. And I do think that beauty is coming full circle. So it's not only about, skincare, wellness, nutrition, supplements, but it's coming right into the home. So, looking towards, next year and the year after, it's going to be anything that our skin actually touches will be considered beauty. So whether it's that towel that has antibacterial qualities that could sit in the beauty section in a department store. So I think it's going to move full circle. So to the candles that we're burning, are the fumes good for your skin? What we're inhaling, what's that doing to our bodies? So I think that whole area is really going to be developed, coming into our whole home interior.
And then sleep is something you've touched on there. That's become a big buzzword in wellness. Lots of sleep tracking devices, sleep tech devices. Does the panel have an opinion on the importance of sleep? You've mentioned it there, Sonia, but does anybody else have strong opinions on sleep?
Well, I did just think what Sonia said there about, how skincare will expand into, many different parts of our home. There's already, the silk sleep pillow, for example, or
Yes.
cover with, anti-crease and various things like that. I don't know the science behind it. I guess it makes sense. You have your head lying down flat on a pillow for 8 hours a night. I think the quality of sleep, though, and your lifestyle has to be taken into account. And ultimately, that's what all these other touch points, be it supplements and whatnot, are I guess feeding into. But I would be of a similar view as Sonia that a generally healthy lifestyle should produce healthy skin in a normal functioning body. So additional supplements, if you have a deficiency in something, absolutely, and they've been recommended, you should take them. Otherwise, I think most of our bodies will expel them. So you wonder how much benefit you're actually getting from them. But again, that's on an individual case-by-case basis. I don't take supplements for anything, actually, at present.
And I also think that, like, you know, just because I personally don't take supplements, like if someone else takes supplements and they make them feel good, it kind of doesn't matter if it's because their body is retaining it or if it's because it just makes them feel good. Like, you know, it doesn't matter if the end result is that someone feels like they're doing something good for themselves. You know, I kind of feel that way. Like I feel really virtuous when I drink water because I'm terrible at it. So, you know, I probably would get a boost from taking, you know, a healthy supplement. You know, to try and counteract the fact that I get, well, almost no sleep thanks to my children. So I totally get it. And I think, you know, no matter the science, as long as the end result is someone feeling better, then, you know, who's to say?
That's what this year is about, really, hasn't it? It's about well-being, and we're all so focused on it, on our health and well-being, and beauty is such a part of that. So I totally agree with you, Louise. Whatever makes you feel good, whatever gets you through the night.
And mental health is a big part of wellness as well, isn't it? You know, and that's been a big focus in COVID.
Yeah. Like I know it, in my own family, not my immediate, but my own family, I'm very well aware of mental health issues. So I grew with my own mom. I have experienced mental health issues from a very young age, so I completely understand them, and I understand the effects that they do have on people, and especially in COVID. And it's you know, it's frightening. It really is. It's frightening. And that's why that we need to, you know, be looking after ourselves on a very basic level and a very basic human level of get sleep and eat healthy. And if you're just doing that, you know, you're more than halfway there. You're probably 80% there if you can do that.
In Maslow's famous hierarchy of needs, it's your sustenance and your shelter, isn't it? And then you can start to look for the other things. Yeah. Yeah.
So true.
Beauty was so profound, is such a profound part of our lives. It really is, actually. What about some tips for the future? If you had to kind of get out your crystal ball and give us some tips for the future, Ellie, would you like to suggest some?
I think some of what we've covered already, I think it's about knowledge. And I think once you know if you can tune into how you are, what you need, and what products you then will need, then you're onto the winning formula pretty much. And I think when brands start to speak to that and make it simple, like make people feel like they have a little bit of control, they understand what they're applying to their skin, and that it fits in with their lifestyle, then that's the sort of golden formula. I think that the direct-to-consumer brands are really great right now. I think they're really hitting a good nerve. So there's a lot of exciting stuff happening in beauty with those brands. I think people are speaking to people clearly and succinctly now, which is great.
A question there now. I'll take some questions from our audience. What does the panel feel about plastic surgery and Botox?
Well, I will say I had Botox for the first time about 4 months ago, and I love it. I'm very happy with it. I don't regret it, not one single bit. I guess I would view Botox as the very, very bottom of kind of any kind of plastic surgery procedures or injectables or anything like that, because you're not really trying to alter kind of the structure of your face or the shape of your face or anything. You're just trying to maybe erase and prevent some of those lines that maybe you just don't like seeing so much in the mirror every day. And, you know, are your feelings about those lines symptomatic of kind of a cultural attitude? Yes. I gave it a lot of thought. I thought about all of that. I thought about the patriarchy nonstop before I decided to actually go ahead and do it. But I did it. I think the kind of rise of plastic surgery and genuine alterations to people's faces and bodies is concerning. I think that the fact that so many very young women all around the world have been making dramatic changes to their face and bodies over the last 5 or 10 years is concerning. But I'm not really sure what we do about that, aside from trying to raise confident and happy young people. Because I think, you know, we talked earlier about kind of the assimilation factor when you're young and you want to kind of be like everybody else and fall in with whatever trend there is. You know, that's all well and good if it's just wearing certain clothes or putting makeup on your face. But if you're making permanent change, then, you know, that's very worrying. And I think it says something about kind of where we all are as a society, with an emphasis on appearance and an emphasis on a certain type of body or a certain type of person being attractive. So that's why I think diversity in every sense, from the sense of ethnicity, from the sense of bodies, from the sense of skin types, hair types, all that stuff is so important. The more diversity we see in advertising, on TV, in films, the better everyone will feel and sit with themselves. So, you know, I'm not going to say it's the Kardashians' fault, and I'm not a Kardashian naysayer, but I think it's good that they won't be on TV all the time now. I think it's time for a change, and we need a new look and a new kind of perspective, and to try and move away from that idea of, you know, you need a body with these proportions, you need a face with this kind of structure. I actually can't even remember where I started. Sorry.
Good answer. Good answer.
Sorry.
Another question here. Which international brands do you think are setting the best example of a 360 approach to beauty?
I think Fenty Beauty is doing it well.
Yeah. And trends, what trends are you happy to leave behind in 2020? What beauty trends? Another question here from the audience.
I struggle to answer that one because I don't follow a beauty trend personally, and I can only speak from my own point of view. So again, it's like the very core of this is skincare for me. So I'll pass on that one.
My opinion would be contouring. The
thing you did a lot when you were younger.
Yes, not very precise contouring, that type of thing. I think the trend is coming into more glow and more sheen and slightly balmy, soft, focused textures. And they're a lot more flattering when you get a bit older anyway. So I won't be going anywhere near a contour brush again.
Well, that's all the questions we have there from the audience. I don't know if anybody wants to give a final thought, but I would like to say thank you very much for all participating. I think it's been a really interesting conversation. I think there's lots to know about in this space, and it's really developing very quickly. And it's great to see Irish brands like Darren's and Sonia's fighting strongly in the market, and that Louise and Ellie are such authorities as well, having been so involved as consumers and also as journalists. So thank you very much. I'd like to let everybody know that we're having another Trends event in January, on the 19th of January, on the future of food, which is not unrelated to beauty. But so keep an eye on our trends on elevate.ie and on our social media. And thank you very much to the panel for an excellent discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emma.
Have a great day. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.